I had been in pain. When I put that video up, I had been in pain for so long. Not just the colitis, but like, every day I'm waking up, I'm throwing up, my stomach hurts, you know what I mean? Like I'm having a hard time sleeping. It was so overwhelming, the level of pain that I was in, that I legitimately, and I say it in that video, that I just legitimately didn't know how I was going to keep going. Like, it was too much. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even, when we talk about, like, celebrities that have killed themselves and stuff, and you find out that they were struggling with, this kind of pain or that kind of pain, sometimes it's hard to understand. Like, you're like, oh, they had such a great life, they had access to the best doctors, but at the end of the day, like, if the doctors can't figure out what's wrong with you, or even worse, if they can and there's nothing they can do to stop the pain, like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, in my heart now, I get it. Like, I know how pain can drive you to a place so dark.
All right, well, let's get back into that conversation, because our guest is waiting, and
yes.
I don't want either of us crying while our guest is. So let's welcome to the show the one and only Mr. Damon Johnson. Damon, no crying from you either, okay?
Hey, babe, what's happening? I promise I will at least attempt to keep the crying somewhat reasonable.
You know what? Wait. Unless it sells albums, you can cry.
Well, hey, man, listen, it's really cool to be on the show with you. And, I called in, and it linked me up, and you guys were in the middle of your discussion, and it definitely sounded like some profound stuff. And, it's great that you have a show like this. And, again, man, it's cool for me to be a part of it. So thank you for having me on tonight.
Cool. Absolutely. Yeah, that's my co-host, Nick. Like, he was out for a few weeks. He was in and out of the hospital, and all types of major stomach issues, and like he didn't know. Like, at one point, he really thought that was it. Like, and like he was saying, the pain was so bad, he didn't know what to do. And when he finally got out of the hospital last week, he put this like Facebook Live video up explaining everything. This way, just kill it one stone and tell everybody what was going on. And I mean, he was sitting there crying, and I was like watching it. I'm like it just tore me up, man. It was just so deep and heavy.
Well, first of all, I hate that Nick had to go through that and is still going through that. I relate somewhat because I have a sibling that just had a pretty major health event a couple of weeks ago, out of nowhere. And,
okay.
It's just kind of the essence of, I guess, this thing called life. It's how you don't see these things coming. And I guess in one way or another, we'll all have to face these challenges, but it's great that you're there, for your partner. And, it is one of the fascinating things about these social platforms that we have now, that you can educate people, not just about experiences you may be having in your own life, but you can actually teach them more. Maybe there's some preventative things that they can do. Who knows?
Right.
But, I guess it kind of brings me full circle back around to music. I've never been more inspired and certainly more grateful to be an artist and to be a songwriter and, guitar player, whatever. Like this, I'm doing what I've always wanted to do, Bay, and it just feels great, man. And last March I just released what is effectively my first proper Damon Johnson solo record, and my goal is to really start cranking these things out. I didn't really see myself doing this 5 or 6 years ago, but here we are. And, you know, doing it at a time when the music business, just those two words together is almost a mystery. You know what I mean? Like a mystery in itself. Like, what is the music business anymore? You know,
right.
You know, if you're not a pop act or, you know, one of the mega country acts or, you know, some heritage act that's just so huge and you know, Guns N' Roses is still selling out stadiums, man. That's incredible. That's a different thing. That's almost like Apple computers or
I'm back and I watched
Amazon.
like Arrow,
so. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, the challenges are certainly there for me to get my music out there and for people to know about it. But I've never been happier doing it. I've never been happier writing it, recording it, you know, taking it on the road. So, yeah, man, that's where we are.
Which do you think was scarier, like the music business when you were in Brother Kane or the music business today?
That's an interesting word, scary. I mean, when I was in Brother Kane, the whole thing just seemed so much bigger than me. I was not prepared for being the lead singer in Brother Kane. Brother Kane was never that big of a band. That we definitely have some diehard fans out there, and we got a ton of radio airplay in the 90s, but we never got big enough to where I was doing interviews in the bigger publications to tell the story that I backed into the role of being the singer. When we signed our development deal, I was the lead guitar player. That's all I ever wanted to be, man, was, one half of a, you know what I mean? I wanted to be one half of a solid songwriting duo with a singer. Like, I'm going to find my Robert Plant. I'm going to find my Eddie Vedder. I'm going to find my, Steven Tyler, whatever. And, man, we just couldn't find him. We had a few good songs. And so when Brother Kane happened and I got behind the microphone, it's weird, man. I agreed to take the job about 1 year before the first album was released. So that's a really short period of time to have that level of a kind of a life, I won't say explosion, but it was a seismic event. All of a sudden, man, I'm in the middle of the stage in the spotlight and doing all the interviews, and I'm the guy. I wasn't prepared for that. So it was really intimidating, to your point, to what you asked earlier. It was definitely intimidating in Brother Kane. So it took me, I guess, 2 decades plus to go through that experience and then enjoy some time being a sideman, playing with Alice Cooper, a legend, playing with the guys in Thin Lizzy, legends. But I think it took all of that for me to come full circle back to, okay, you know what? Maybe I do want to just write my own songs and sing them. And I can play the old songs. I can play some of the songs from the bands I've been a part of over the last decade, little tip of the hat to them, and just have put a show together, put a good night out of music, and people can be entertained, and it's happening. So I think I was definitely more intimidated back then than I am now. Definitely a lot more confident now.
Well, speaking of like Thin Lizzy or an Alice Cooper, like, what's it like? I mean, seriously, what's it like being, you figure in this crazy thing we call life and time, you probably think like 1 minute you're this kid and you're going to see Thin Lizzy and Alice Cooper, and then in the blink of an eye, you look to the side of your stage and you're on the stage with them playing. Like, that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, for a kid growing up and having that happen, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? That's just the stuff that doesn't happen.
Right.
The guys in Aerosmith have been Aerosmiths from the beginning. It's the same 5 guys.
Right.
Lucky for me, Alice Cooper, when he dissolved the original band, he definitely had a bit of a revolving door and continues to have somewhat of a revolving door of musicians in his touring band. He's got so many great songs, and it's all about the show and those songs. Mm-hmm. But I could have never dreamt listening to those records when I was in, junior high school. And my parents really freaked out about the picture of this guy on the cover, and his name is Alice Cooper. There's no way I would have imagined that I would play in the guy's band one day.
Sure.
Growing up in literally, man, I'm from rural Alabama. I mean, way out in the sticks. And, it is it's just bizarre. And you would think after all these years of being a part of it and even doing interviews about it, you would think I would have this nice kind of sophisticated way to describe it, but I still don't. It's just bizarre. Like, how does that happen? It's totally a scene out of a movie, and it was very much like you just said. 1 minute I got the call for the audition, I flew out, was grateful that I got the gig, and then literally 10 days later, the first show I played with Alice was somewhere in New Jersey, and, the lights drop, and he comes out beside me with the top hat and the cane, and we play Hello, Hooray, and, second song in the set is It My Body, and I start the whole guitar riff. It's just me in the spotlight with, Alice Cooper with his arm on my shoulder, with his elbow on my shoulder, propped up singing those opening lyrics. It's like, okay, what's happening right now? I have to be dreaming. This can't be real.
Now, and then, like, how do you do something like Eric? Like the whole Black Star Riders thing. Like when you left last year, like, and to go and like do your solo thing, like that takes a lot of balls because, I mean, you could have had a steady gig with them and not worried about stuff and not having everything fall on your shoulders, and you took a big chance in jumping to do this solo thing and this crazy music business.
Yeah, that was hard because I love those guys. And I love the work that we did together. We made 3 quality records over the 6 years that I was in Black Star Riders, and there was nothing negative about that whole experience other than pretty much all of our touring was out of the country. And, man, for me to be in my 50s and, my second marriage and my 3 older kids are all grown, functioning adults, which I'm so proud of them and grateful for that. But I have 2, school-age kids still at home. Okay. And it just felt, it was just too much for me. Yeah. I get it. That's what it takes, man. If you're going to commit to a new band and get it off the ground, you have to tour like that. You have to fly to London and be over there in the UK and in Europe for anywhere from 6 to 9 weeks. And that's just that's what it takes. I just didn't want to do that anymore. It's just that simple. And it wasn't sustainable for me any longer and for the life that I was trying to balance between, being, and BSR it was kind of easy because I was just a guitar player, and writing songs with Ricky Warwick was always a joy, just a pleasure, man. That guy's such a great writer, great lyricist, and we worked really fast. And it was really inspiring for me until it wasn't. And a lot of that was just the time away. And plus I'd already started writing some songs. Any time I've done a solo record, over the last literally 15 years, it was always a bit like a side project, just something to do in between Alice Cooper tours or in between Black Star Riders tours. Something about this record definitely felt different. It was a more focused rock record, guitar focused, and I don't know. I just felt a real joy in writing and making that record. And, and I kind of had it in my back pocket when Black Star Riders was on tour in North America with Judas Priest just a year ago, a little over a year ago. And it was in that time period that, when the thought first kind of got into my brain. And, I kind of turned my body in that direction and started walking, and that walk quickly turned into a trot and then into a full-blown, I was running in that direction of, okay, man, I'm ready. It's time to do this. It was scary. There was so much uncertainty. Yes, the music business in 2019 is batshit crazy, you know. So, I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to pretend that it was just, okay, I did this, now I'm going to do that. There was some anxious mornings, waking up early, staring at the ceiling, going, okay, man, we've done this. I've jumped off the bridge. I'm in full swan dives. I hope I land. I hope I can land with at least a little bit of finesse.
Well, musically, you finessed, but this whole freaking pledge music thing, my lord.
Yeah, that was a tsunami we just didn't see coming. Yeah, I mean, I'm super comfortable talking about it, and I mean, I don't know if your listeners even know what pledge music is. If I need to touch on a little bit of that, or maybe they do know. Maybe they're aware that that's a crowdfunding platform for bands and artists.
The whole thing just baffles me because it was like a huge site. Like so many artists, and I mean like big name artists were using it.
Yes, and I had a good experience with pledge music. Black Star Writers involved them on an album that we put out about 3 years ago. Okay. And the experience was really good. Our fans loved it. We weren't counting on Pledge to finance the making of the record like I was, but we definitely integrated them because the fans dug the fact that they could pre-order the physical copies and they could also get their hands on some really unique merchandise, unique memorabilia, things that they just couldn't get anywhere else other than through that platform. So with a lot of preparation and a lot of thought, I decided to use pledge music for my solo thing. I had a great administrator, a friend of mine in Nashville, that helped me kind of coordinate the whole thing because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work getting all the memorabilia together, the posters. I had an old Alice Cooper tour jacket, and I had my boots from the last Brother King tour. Fans love that stuff. Sure. I saw that tour. I'm going to buy Damon's actual stage boots right now. Yeah, $120, and that all adds to the total, of the revenue you're hoping to generate. And what I found out was that while I was launching my campaign, like you said, there were definitely some big name artists doing it. Queensryche was in the middle of one, Steve Vai, and I forget what they call it, something like Guitar Alliance, but it was Steve Vai, Yngwie, Nuno Bettencourt, a couple other groups. They had used pledge music to to get the fans to kind of fund their record as well. So everything was going great, and I generated a really good amount of money, especially for a guy like me. I'm not trying to change the world with putting my record out, but I did hire legit publicists. I hired a legit radio person to work, the single at radio in North America. I blew it out, man, in the quality of the vinyl and the CD. Like the CD was like a 4-gatefold, just gorgeous, man, like nothing I've ever seen, much less put out myself. And the same for the vinyl. It was a colored vinyl, double-sided insert, all the lyrics. Just I brought in an incredible art designer that it was first class, man, all the way. Well, it's expensive to do that. Yeah. I wasn't worried about that because I'm like, hey, I'm going to take this revenue from Pledge Music. It's going to pay for all this. I'm putting every penny of that money into the record one way or another. And, they paid me the first installment back in November. It took a minute. We had to ask for it several times, but we got it. And it gave me the confidence to go, okay, I got a little money to operate with now. Let's pull the trigger on everything. We're going to ship all the stuff to the fans. We're going to hire these other people, put this team together, man, to give my first solo record a proper launch. And it was really exciting. That whole time was exciting. And then about a month later, they're supposed to send the second. There's 3 installments. We were waiting on the second payment. And that's when we started hearing whisperings that there was some problems. And, 1 month turned into 2. And then we heard that they were shutting, they were temporarily halting operations so that they could figure out what they're doing. Obviously, they had spent the money that belonged to the artist. They were spending other people's money. I'm not using the word steal yet.
Okay.
but that's what they would.
They took the money and ran.
That's exactly what they did. So, I've always tried to be an optimist. The glass is half full. And I just thought, man, there's no way these guys are just going to take our money. It's going to take them some time. They're going to figure this out. And so I went to the bank, borrowed some money so that I could keep moving with my record and not have any hesitation or slow down or nothing. And everybody that I had hired, they all got paid. They got paid on time. There was no way I was going to start my new solo career like that. So I wanted to run, treat people with respect and pay my bills, which I did. And then I guess now it's been about 5 or 6 weeks ago now, that it was officially, the news was put out worldwide because they're an international company. Their main office is in London. But we woke up one Monday morning to the news that Pledge Music has filed for bankruptcy. They could not find a buyer. They had shopped to 3 or 4 different buyers. And the last one passed, and they went into administration, which means they're going to file for bankruptcy. So that was a tough day because it's like, okay, well, there's no hope. That money is gone. Every dollar of it, we're not going to see again. And, look, man, I always say that there was no way, the next thing to happen is that I had 2 different close friends say, well, what you should do, Damon, is you should start a GoFundMe page.
Oh, no.
And I've contributed to GoFundMe pages in recent months, for someone that has cancer. For someone that, lost a child in a horrible accident, or something like that. And man, I'm not going to put up a GoFundMe page and ask my fans for more money. Like, well, just give me more money because this kind of crappy thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was a bad look, brother. It's just not how I've ever lived or want to live. Nothing wrong with situations where a GoFundMe page is helpful. It can change people's lives. It can help people get through some real serious problems. My problem is not that serious. It just wasn't. So almost to come up with an idea to counter my friend saying, oh, you should do this, my wife goes, Damon, you should just have a show. Just put on a concert. Call it something. We'll have it in Nashville. We've got a lot of friends that live here. We'll do it on a weeknight so you can get some of the guys that are always out on the weekends touring. Have them come down, play a couple songs. Let's see what we can turn it into. And literally within 36 hours of me announcing that I was going to do this show, Mike Ferris, who I've been friends with for almost 3 decades, a Grammy Award-winning Americana powerhouse singer, special, he said, Damon, I'm doing the show. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I'm doing it. Let me know what you need. I was like, oh, Mike, that's great. My neighbor, about 5 miles away, just happens to be one Brad Whitford from Aerosmith. Brad says, Damon, I hear you're doing the show, man. if you need anything from me, let me know. I said, I need something from you, Brad Whitford. why don't you come down? Why don't you come down and let's play some Aerosmith songs, and, I'll get a couple of my friends to sing, and I'll sing one. And he was like, great, whatever you need. That was really big. And then the biggest call of all came from my old friend Kevin Martin from Candlebox. And the phone call went like this. Hey, Damon, it's Kevin. Hey, brother. Dude, do you need me? I said, what are you talking about? Do you need me to come to Nashville for that show? I said, what do you mean? You and your wife come to the show? Sure. He goes, no. I'll bring Candlebox, and we'll play your show. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, maybe you're drunk. Maybe you're drunk somewhere, on a tour bus, and you're a little out of your head. He says, no, man. He goes, I heard what happened. This will not stand. I'm bringing the guys to town. And that's what happened, babe. Candlebox flew to Nashville on their own dime and came and played my show this last Monday night. And it was incredible. All those artists played. My band was there. We played. It was one of the greatest nights of music I've ever had in my life. Forget that we, raised almost half of the money that I was out from Pledge Music. The real specialness was the music. Those artists, my friends, and those fans that were in the room to get to experience that. It's only been 3 days, man, and I'm still not over it. It was one of the most, so definitely, man. And it just, it reminds me how fortunate I am to be in this insane business. I mean, I would never deny having days where I think, man, I should have stayed in school. I could have that engineering job right now. I'd have 2 or 3 rental properties by now. We'd have a place on the beach, and I could send my kids to this school instead of that school, But I love it, man. I don't ever doubt, humans. Human beings have the potential to do great things, and that's never going to change. I doubt the music business sometimes because it's tough. And it doesn't get any easier.
In the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's really been this. I mean, I would never say that it was a positive that Pledge Music filed for bankruptcy and stole $20,000 of my money. I would never say that. But you know what happened, man? We turned something bad into something very, very, very good. And I'm so proud of it, man, and honored to be a part of it, and so grateful to my friends that came and played and the fans that came to the show.
See, that tells me the more people Nashville just keeps popping on my radar constantly. I got to get to Nashville.
You really do, brother. It's so much more kind of, cosmopolitan than it was 20 years ago.
That's what I heard.
Certainly when I first started coming to town, it was still very steeped in old school country and old school publishing business and old school lawyers, and it just wasn't my speed, and that's why when Brother Kane did get his record deal, I was so grateful that we signed to a label out of Los Angeles, and we didn't have to move to Nashville. We didn't have to do any business in Nashville,
right?
Because back then it was kind of wacky. So, but over the years, I started to fall in love with Nashville. It really started when we put out that first Brother Kane record in '93. I think literally the first city in the country to put Got No Shame into heavy rotation was Nashville, Tennessee. So, over the course of those 3 albums, we played up there a lot, and I just got more comfortable in knowing my way around, and then obviously in the last 10 years, man, the place has just exploded. It's exploded, and obviously, the country music business is alive and well, but there's a lot of rock and roll people in town now.
Oh, yeah.
Old friends of mine.
I was just with. Do you know Tony Harnell? Used to be in TNT.
Oh, I know about Tony. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I was just with him Sunday night. He was up here in Philly. He did an Unplugged show up here in Philly. He's down in Nashville now too. We were talking about it.
Tony's a great singer.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, like there's all kinds of rock people in Nashville. Dave Mustaine, Vince Neil, Tom Kiefer, Peter Frampton. I told you Brad Whitford, Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick. My buddy Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest just bought a house in Nashville. Yeah. And he's a Brit, man. I mean, the guy's lived in, the Bahamas, and he's lived in, he's lived in the UK, but now he lives in Nashville. It's the craziest thing, man. It's wild.
It is. I belong there, I think.
Well, you definitely got to come, and check it out.
For real.
Try some of the food, get in, go to some events, go to some sporting events, a lot of cool places to shop. Always lots happening musically in all kinds of genres, not just country for sure. Yeah.
Nice. So the album, let's talk about the album finally. Memoirs of the Uprising.
Yeah, isn't it wild that that's what I titled the record, and we've just gone through this thing with Pledge Music.
Right.
Because it has felt like an uprising. That's what we called the show Monday night, Uprising from Pledge Music. And, all 10 songs, Bay, there's a theme that runs through the record. There wasn't the intention of that happening, but that's kind of what happened. And, it's about struggle in relationships and, colossal failure and feeling hopeless, being in a committed situation and it goes south really bad, and, you feel lost, you feel confused, you feel angry. These songs kind of deal with that. And, I called it Memoirs of an Uprising because, in the last quarter of the album, our hero, our protagonist, he finds a way to kind of come through it and get to a place of realizing that, hey, man, you can't be defined by another person. You can't be defined by your mistakes. You can always go beyond that and do better, be more. And I don't know, man, it was some heady stuff for a guy that plays a Les Paul through a Marshall stack, but that's just what I felt like writing, man. And I've written songs with my friend Jim Troglin for a long, long time, and he's a trusted companion and collaborator. So when I came to him with this idea, he didn't hesitate to go, okay, man, this sounds awesome. Yeah, let's see what we can come up with. So that was the record, and I'm still so proud of it. I just listened to it last week again from top to bottom, and I can't remember any album I've made maybe in my whole career that I've enjoyed listening to still, basically 6-8 months after its completion. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, I read that in your bio for the album, and that kind of like blew me away. That was like that I think speaks volumes right there.
Well, yeah, it does, because I mean, again, I've been doing this a long time. It's wild to think I've been around for as many years as I have, and excuse me, been a part of so many musical collaborations, and I love this record. Very, very proud of it.
That's awesome. Now, the first single is and video, Shivering, Shivering. We going to be doing any more videos for anything, or?
I want to very much. There's 2 songs on the record that have a lot of tempo that I'd love to make another video for. I think once the dust settles, from this. The touring that I'm doing right now. It's going to slow down a little bit next month, and I think I'd really like to at least make a video. It's not like it used to be where you're trying to get on MTV, and so you got to spend $300,000 and film it, hanging out of a helicopter over a, Hoover Dam, with I don't know, Hulk Hogan in the video with you. Those days are over, man. But I loved the first video for Shivering. A great young director helped me do that, and it was fun, man. And it's affordable. That's the word I'm looking for. You can get it done on your own, especially, man, if you're creative and you've got some good ideas. And these 10 songs just seem to continually inspire me and sprout, visuals and. I'm already 5 or 6 songs into the next record. I got new songs coming together. So, like I said at the beginning of the conversation, I've never felt more inspired or just an artist. I'm so proud of that. It feels great, and I just want to keep working hard, man, and putting out new Damon Johnson music at a pretty fast clip. That's the goal. That's what I really want to do.
Now, here's what I'm going to take out of this whole thing. Like, at the end of the day, even, making the big decision to leave Black Star Riders, do your own music, going through the whole Pledge Music fiasco, at the end of the day, you're very, very happy to be doing your own thing, it sounds like.
Completely, bro. Completely. There's no way that I could know for sure that I would feel like this 6 months, 9 months after leaving BSR, but it definitely feels great. And I keep using that word, grateful. None of that stuff is ever a given. I had to see myself there. I had to invest fully into the creation of the songs, making the record, and then working hard, to get on the road and take it to the people. I've got a badass band, all buddies of mine from Nashville, which is such a pleasure, man. It's easy now to have band rehearsal. It's easy to, call up the guys and go, hey, man, I got 3 new songs. I got 4 hours at my buddy Marty's studio. Can you guys do next Tuesday? And you just send out a group text, and everybody goes, yeah, man, I'm free. Can we do it at 2:00 instead of 3? Yeah, no problem. Great. Boom. Done. Doing that kind of stuff with Alice Cooper or in Black Star Riders, bro, it took weeks and weeks and emails and conference calls, and it was just so hard. And I get it. Yeah, man. I really like the pace that we're operating and just kind of where my career is. I'm loving it. And
that's awesome.
I see it growing. It's reaching more people. We're getting on people's radars that I would have never thought possible. And I think that's all you define growth with in the music business. It's like, are more people getting on board? Are you making some new fans? My fans are just so supportive, and my fans are the best, because they've been with me for so damn long, man. There's not 400,000 of them, but there's 4,000 of them, and they're awesome, man. And they fly into different shows, and I'm pretty engaged on social media, and they're the ones that helped me launch this thing. Pledge Music be damned. It was the fans that helped, make this happen. So they're having a great time. I talk to them. I see them at the show, and I get to hear a lot of commentary directly from them. And it's inspiring, brother. It's the stuff that just fuels me. And I'm sure that's a big part of why I've already got some new songs in the can and moving in that direction.
Well, I got to so me and Nick are not actually together. Nick's actually in Arizona, and he sent me this private message just now, and I want to read it to you because it's like he's like during the interviews, he's always very quiet, and he just sent me this message, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I got to read this to him. So he says, from this one interview, I learned that he loves to work. He's open to all kinds of possibilities and collaborations. He's not willing to take advantage of his fans, even if he can. He's willing to sacrifice his own memorabilia to pay them back. He listens to his wife's advice. He has friends. He's a go-getter who wants to make shit happen. He's not a quitter. He's humble. He's well-liked in his industry, and he's willing to move and change with the times. He don't want anything handed to him. He just wants to produce it. And then he follows that up and says, I'll legit pay for his album, which is something I very rarely do.
Nick, if you are listening, wow. Thank you, brother.
I'm here.
Hey, man. Listen, man, thank you. That's a lot. You said a lot right there. Thank you so much.
No, honestly,
I know
you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to thank me at all, because I sit here with Bay week after week, and we interview a lot of people, and very rarely does somebody come through who I feel is very sort of honest and authentic and really just totally in love with what they're doing and the process and their fans and grateful. And I'm telling you, it's so super rare that that's why I convey that message, because legitimately I've never heard any of the songs. I don't know what it's about. I don't really know what genre it's in, but I will 100% buy this album, because the best thing for this album, the biggest selling point to me, is the way that you are during this interview.
Wow, man. Well, that's I am going to thank you. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I really appreciate that you use that word authentic. Especially in recent years, guys, I've tried to be a seeker of authenticity. And it's not always readily available. You know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Authenticity, you have to work for it. It only comes with time and sweat and failures and struggle. And I've had all of that, man. Hey, look, I just had more of it. It's like that's always gonna be part of any journey, any relationship, any job, any endeavor. There's gonna be some bumps in the road. And again, music. I love it. I've always loved it. I never set the goal to make $1 million or sell 1 million records. My goal as a kid, literally growing up on a chicken farm in Northeast Alabama, my goal was, man, what if I could make a living playing my guitar? Oh, my God, that would be the greatest life.
Right.
Guess what? I've had that life. I'm having it, and I'm excited to continue to have it. My wife is incredible. My kids are incredible, man. They support me. They support me following my bliss. And we have our life set up so Damon can follow his bliss and keep buying Les Pauls and going on tour and writing songs and doing what he's loved ever since I was in junior high school, man. And I started buying Steve Miller records. I don't know. I can't remember what I was buying, but I've certainly loved music for a long time. And feels good, man, to be,
that's awesome.
Practically in my mid-50s. And this is what's happening. This is what's going down. And I'm in charge of, my own little independent company now, Double Dragon Records. Nick, if you get that CD, by the way, it's on my website. When you open it up, look at how badass my record label logo is. Double Dragon Records, man. It's awesome.
I definitely will, man. As a matter of fact, when I get it, I'm gonna do like a full-on album listen react video, and I'll send it to you.
Brother, I would be honored. I look forward to that. That would be spectacular. Thank you.
That's awesome. Damon, where's the best place for everybody to go to get the album?
Really easy. DamonJohnson.com. We are running our own little online store, and we run it super efficiently. You can ask any fan of mine on any continent on the planet. we've packaged up vinyl and sent it to Australia. We have sent it to, we sent one to Japan. We're doing it ourselves, man. And you can feel confident. Everything's right there on the website. The tour dates, links to the video. I've got some touring I'm excited about. I'm doing an acoustic run in Canada in 2 weeks. I haven't been in Canada with my own music in a long, long time, probably since the last time Brother Kane was up there. So can't wait for that. Doing a couple festivals in the Midwest. We're playing a big one in Peoria with my friends in Clutch, who I love so much. I'm such a fan of that band. To sort of rock out with them is going to be a blast. I am going to play with Thin Lizzy. We're doing 4 festival dates toward the end of the summer, and those will all be in Europe. But, man, it's just perfect. It's like 2 weeks. Fly over, rehearse with the guys, go do these festivals, eat some good food, have some laughs, come right back home, man, and get back to my stuff. I couldn't be happier about that.
That's awesome. That's like a little vacation.
It's what it's going to feel like. I'm telling you, to play Jailbreak and The Boys Are Back in Town with Scott Gorham, come on, man.
Yeah, right.
What's better than that? Nothing's better than that.
That's freaking awesome. You know what I got to ask you? Because in my investigation of you, I found out you co-wrote one of my favorite Skid Row songs, Ghost.
Oh, man. Wow, what a good song.
What a good song.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Brother Kane did several dates in 95, maybe 96. We supported Van Halen, and Skid Row was the middle act on a handful of those dates. And so it gave me a chance to get to know those guys. I loved both their records because they were still only, the debut and Enslaved to the Grind. Okay. And, man, I'm same age as Scotty and Snake and Rachel, and we had a great time on that tour. And I was so honored that they called me, a few weeks after that tour and said, "Hey, man, we're putting a new record together. Would you have any interest to come and co-write with us?" And I was like blown away. I'm like, hell yeah, man, that'd be a blast. So without a doubt, Ghost was a very, very special song. A lot of credit goes to that amazing lyric that Rachel came up with. Snake and I were banging on acoustic guitars and kind of put some melodies together that I thought sounded great as well. And Rachel had his head down, man, working on some lyrics. And when he read that first verse to us, I just remember we cracked up. We're like, dude, you didn't write that. Somebody else wrote that. That's too good, It was so fantastic. Thank you for for mentioning that song.
I love it.
Matter of fact, it's a goal of mine to record my own version of Ghost.
Ooh.
Just because I love the song so much. Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome.
Kind of do, my own take of it. It's definitely a really good song. Well,
that better be on the album too. I'm holding you to it.
Hey, man, as soon as we hang up, I'm going to put that in my notes right here on my phone. The perpetual
don't make
notes.
me come to Nashville now.
I know you do the same thing, man. You keep notes on your iPhone like the rest of us. Yeah, man. Guys, again, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity and some great questions, some really thoughtful discussion and commentary by both of you, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Damon, man. It was great talking to you.
Well, I hope our paths will cross really soon.
I hope so too.
You're in Philly, is that right?
I'm in Philly, so if I come to Nashville, I'm looking you up.
Hit me up, bro. Hit me up, man. I love Philadelphia. I got lifelong friends in Phoenix, Nick. So,
all right.
I'm planning to be out there soon. So, man, all the best to you guys. Continued success.
You too.
And thank you again, man. This was a lot of fun.
Hey, can we get a fuck pledge music on 3? 1, 2, 3. Fuck pledge music.
Fuck pledge music. Hey, man, we did that the other night at the show. I opened the whole night, just me and my acoustic guitar, and I sang a song I wrote a few years back called "Leave It All Behind." Yes, the lyric was appropriate. And, you know, before I sang it, I just said, hey, welcome, people. Thanks for coming here and be a part of this night of music. And let's all have a collective fuck you to pledge music. And everybody just, you know, fingers in the air. Fuck you.
it should have been the fuck
you might as well laugh about it, right?
Exactly.
You might as well laugh about it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Damon, man, this has been amazing, man. Thank you for doing this. And amazing album. I'm going to play Shivering, As a matter of fact, so everybody can get a taste of it, whet their appetite, and go to DamonJohnson.com and buy, like Nick's going to do. You know what? I'll do it too. I deserve to.
No, I'm going through the PayPal process right now. I bought one of the autographed ones.
How about that?
That's awesome, Nick. Thank you, brother. And thank
anytime.
You, Bay. All the best to you guys.
Man.
And yeah, man, I'll definitely see you both down the road. All right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, man. Take care. Here he is, Damon Johnson, Shivering.